Tonight, new accusations against the former Canadian Olympian turned alleged drug kingpin. The growing global manhunt and the new reward for his capture.
Ryan Wedding is a modern-day iteration of Pablo Escobar.
And who was arrested in Canada and what role they played in the drug empire. Our exclusive sit-down with Sweden's king and queen.
If you think upon the situations in the world, it's changed.
What the royals are saying about their rare state visit to Canada and what the U.S. ambassador is saying about the chase for a new military contract. Plus, the historic Hudson's Bay art auction.
Fair warning.
How much this cherished Winston Churchill painting went for.
Congratulations to your bidder.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina, reporting tonight from Ottawa.
Good evening. New charges and new arrests tonight connected to Canadian ex-Olympian turned alleged international drug lord Ryan Wedding. Both Canadian and U.S. law enforcement holding a joint news conference in Washington today, detailing new allegations and increasing the reward for his arrest. CTV's Michael Couture starts us off.
Ryan Wedding is a modern-day iteration of Pablo Escobar.
Law enforcement in Canada and the U.S. are calling the former Canadian Olympic snowboarder the leader of a transnational criminal enterprise. In addition to reportedly shipping truckloads of cocaine across North America, the FBI and U.S. Justice Department are now charging Ryan Wedding with 2 additional counts of witness tampering, intimidation, and money laundering.
Wedding is also accused of murdering a federal witness after he was indicted in 2024.
U.S. officials allege Wedding used semi-trucks to import 60 tons of cocaine annually into the U.S. That amount of drugs is the same weight as 40 standard cars.
He's being protected by the Sinaloa cartel, along with others in the country of Mexico.
American law enforcement has been working with the RCMP because of his links to Canada and his alleged connection to 4 murders in Ontario. It's believed his vast network includes a former Mexican law enforcement officer and money launderers from Italy and the UK.
Fugitive Ryan Wedding remains one of the top threats to Canadian public safety, and as per the previous indictment, continues to run an over $1 billion a year criminal enterprise.
While increasing the reward for his arrest to $15 million, U.S. law enforcement is asking for the public's help to find Wedding.
Please understand that he might change his hair color, his appearance, and do anything to avoid capture.
As of today, U.S. law enforcement says approximately 36 people have been indicted in connection with this case. And they warned Ryan Wedding that his days are numbered. Omar?
All right, Mike, thank you. Among those arrests Mike mentioned are multiple Canadians, including Ryan Wedding's lawyer. CTV's Bergeron-Oliver looks into the roles he and others are said to have played in that alleged drug empire.
The RCMP conducted raids across the country with arrests in Quebec, Ontario, and Alberta. The Canadians were allegedly working with Wedding and now face a range of charges from conspiracy to commit murder to drug trafficking.
Yesterday, we engaged in an operation following information that we received and arrest 7 out of 8 Canadians. All of them are currently locked up, waiting the extradition process.
According to the indictment, Toronto's Roland Sokolowski, a professional poker player, allegedly managed and laundered the ring's drug proceeds. And the self-proclaimed cocaine lawyer, Toronto's Deepak Paradakar, allegedly introduced Wedding to drug traffickers and is accused of helping Wedding with bribery and murder, and of providing a range of illegal services beyond his scope of practice. Several other Canadians are alleged to have played a role in the murder of a federal court witness known only as Victim A. Ryan Wedding is accused of ordering that 2025 murder. Montreal's Edwin Besora Hernandez is accused of providing the witness's contact information. Laval's Atna Ona was allegedly a hired sicario or hitman that facilitated the murder of Victim A. Edmonton's Ahmad Nabil Zoutin and Calgary's Alistair Chapman are accused of attempting to locate Victim A so that Victim A could be killed. Mississauga's Gurswak Singh Bal was allegedly paid approximately $10,000 not to post about wedding and instead to post about victim A so they could be located and killed. Canada's public safety minister says that this summer, the Americans told him the raids were being planned.
There's been tremendous cooperation between Canadian law enforcement and U.S. Law enforcement.
Police say they are still searching for Tommy Demorzi of Montreal. They believe, Omar, he's a fugitive in the Dominican Republic.
All right, Annie, thank you. And we have breaking news tonight. U.S. President Donald Trump says he has signed the bill directing the Department of Justice to release all of its files related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. So when can the world expect to see them, and what will actually be made public? Here's CTV's Joy Melvin.
The Senate has passed the bill under unanimous consent.
For these survivors, this has been a long time coming, rejoicing after Congress voted overwhelmingly to force the Justice Department to release all its files on Jeffrey Epstein's crimes.
One of the best days of my life to feel seen, validated, and heard.
It's been 5 administrations, almost 30 years of fighting this.
It's estimated more than 1,000 girls suffered abuse, recruited into Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's sex trafficking ring. Once the Epstein Act becomes law, the Justice Department has 30 days to make the files public. But President Donald Trump ordered new investigations into prominent Democrats that could delay the files from being released after the Justice Department stated no new charges or investigations were warranted. So what changed?
Information that has come for information. There's information new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law to investigate any leads.
Trump demanded former President Bill Clinton and former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers be investigated, among others. Summers was close with Epstein, even asked him for romantic advice. The former Harvard professor now under investigation by the university.
Larry Summers has shown terrible judgment in his relationship with Mr. Epstein after it was publicly known about Mr. Epstein's criminal violations with underage girls.
Many survivors just want the truth to finally come out, asking the president for the complete release of all the Epstein files without delay or redactions. Omar?
All right, Joy, thank you. And back here at home, as the dogfight for a new Canadian fighter jet contract continues during the ongoing trade war, the U.S. ambassador to Canada weighed in on Sweden's counteroffer to the American F-35.
Canada's a sovereign nation. They will make up. They'll make up their minds as to what the best plane is for Canada. The F-35, an international plane that Canada bought in from the beginning. That it characterized a hallmark of how defense cooperation between the U.S., Canada, and other countries really, really works well.
Ottawa is reviewing its deal to buy more F-35s made by Lockheed Martin. It's widely considered America's most advanced fighter jet, while the Gripen fighter jet comes from Swedish company Saab, which promises to create thousands of Canadian jobs. Saab is also proposing a partnership with Canada's Bombardier based in Montreal, where a rare 3-day state visit wraps up for Sweden's King and Queen, who are leading a delegation of 30 Swedish companies. They've spent the past 2 days here in Ottawa, and I spoke to them for an exclusive sit-down earlier this evening. Your Majesty's welcome to Canada.
Thank you very much.
At the state dinner last night, you spoke about the common interests that Canada and Sweden have, except for in the hockey rink. And yet this visit of yours comes 20 years after your last one. Why make this state visit now?
If you think upon the situations in the world, it's changed. It's quite dramatic in the world. So Sweden is a small country with a small economy, and we are very dependent on export markets. So we have roughly plus 150 Swedish companies in a vast country. And so there is already friendship and collaboration on many fields. So there's a lot of things we can work together on.
We have not only been here on the state visits, 3 or But we have been here during the Olympic Games as well in Calgary and Vancouver, which was wonderful. It was very well organized. It was great fun, I must say. And so you have a beautiful country, and traveling now, it was very interesting for me to compare it with time before.
We know that the U.S. president has forced many countries, including Canada, to change the way they do business. How much of a factor is Donald Trump in trying to strengthen the ties between Canada and Sweden at this time?
I wouldn't say not at the moment, but okay, one always has to be flexible, because there is always a new possibility you can find somewhere to do business. And Sweden has always been a free trade country since many years back.
Canada was the first to ratify Sweden's NATO membership. In terms of the Russian aggression, I mean, we saw an incident today. There's a Russian attack in Ukraine. At least 25 people were killed. I know you have spoken publicly about the Russian invasion, which is rare for a royal to do. Do you think that is making any difference to Vladimir Putin?
Well, but it means a lot for those people who are infected. And your involvement is very, very strong in this country to help and support and to do the utmost what you can do.
I want to pick up again on this theme of change that you've mentioned a couple of times. What is the biggest change you've noticed as of late in terms of the geopolitics and what's happening in the world?
It's something you feel and you see. Specifically now in Ukraine, of course, it's not something that nobody really wants. It should have happened to start with, and that it affects many people, and it affects many nations, and it also affects the economy, the world economy. It could be so much easier. But again, we have to be flexible again. We can do other things. We can try to go past the obstacles, so to speak, and find new ways. But that's the trick.
Your Majesties, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Prime Minister Mark Carney touched down today in the United Arab Emirates ahead of the G20 summit in South Africa, looking to diversify Canada's economy. CTV's Rachel Aiello is in Abu Dhabi with more on the trade talks.
The Prime Minister has come to this Gulf nation to pitch Canada to wealthy investors and to advance trade talks, but he'll be doing so while navigating some delicate diplomatic discussions. Arriving in Abu Dhabi, the Prime Minister was greeted with a grand welcome. Over the next 2 days, Carney will have a series of meetings with top government and industry leaders to try and attract more capital to Canada. Potentially helping that happen, according to a senior government official who briefed reporters on the plane, the two countries will be signing a foreign investment protection agreement while Carney is here, a pact that's been in the works for nearly a decade. The Prime Minister also intends to launch trade talks with the UAE towards a new comprehensive economic partnership agreement that would make it easier to do business. Last year, Canada's two-way trade with the UAE was valued at more than $3 billion. But the federal government sees potential to expand energy, agriculture, and artificial intelligence partnerships. Carney's time in the UAE also comes as this country is pushing back hard on accusations it's fueling Sudan's war. The Canadian officials expect the Prime Minister to raise the issue along with a series of other security concerns. But that and other frank conversations the senior official said Carney is likely to have here are all going to be happening entirely behind closed doors, as the UAE government is restricting Canadian media access to the Prime Minister's bilateral meetings. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Abu Dhabi.
Pablo Rodriguez, leader of Quebec's Liberal Party, has ordered an inquiry into an alleged votes for cash scheme. As CTV's Quebec Bureau Chief Geneviève Beauchemin tells us, the former federal MP says he didn't know anything about the allegations that party members may have been paid to vote for him until recently.
Quebec Liberal leader Pablo Rodriguez faced a barrage of questions.
Je n'ai rien à cacher. Rien à cacher.
And he repeatedly denied any knowledge of allegations of a vote for cash scheme to get him elected leader.
I have nothing to hide. I'm fully transparent, and I don't accept that my party is attacked like this.
Rodriguez took the helm of the provincial Liberals in June in a hotly contested race. This week, in the wake of turmoil over firing within the party, the investigative unit of Quebec Media published what it alleges are text messages between two elected officials. One reportedly discusses getting the vote out for Rodriguez. A separate one allegedly refers to party members getting a brownie for voting. Rodriguez warned people against reaching conclusions until an inquiry is done, saying nothing confirms whether the texts are real or falsified.
What I've said is that there's a few textos this morning, not related to anyone, no source confirmed, no phone number, nothing.
Before making the move to provincial politics, Rodriguez was a long-time federal Liberal MP, a former cabinet minister and Quebec lieutenant. Some of his former colleagues expressed confidence in Rodriguez in Ottawa, including Minister of Transport Stephen McKinnon, who called him a friend. The party says vague allegations that were dismissed as unfounded were made in the spring. Now, this investigation is expected to go quickly. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
Alberta's government coming under fire tonight for invoking the notwithstanding clause for the second time in just weeks, this time to shield a trio of laws impacting transgender Albertans. Here's CTV's Kathy Lee.
In a week meant to honor trans visibility, those in the community say they've never felt more invisible or more vulnerable in Alberta.
A real gut punch. And we're reeling. It's been a very heavy, difficult few days.
Feeling the weight of the UCP government's move after it tabled legislation invoking the notwithstanding clause, which shields 3 transgender-focused laws from any court challenge.
We're very confident in our position. We always have been. We always will be.
The government says it consulted teachers, doctors, and coaches on Bill 9, which bans hormone therapy for kids under 16 and gender-affirming surgery for those under 18, requires parental consent for pronoun changes in school, and makes sexual health class opt-in only, and blocks trans athletes over 12 from competing in female sports, requiring proof of gender at birth.
Seeing my government target such a small amount of our provincial population is absolutely appalling when truly we're just trying to live our lives in our own peace and in our own lane.
This is the second time this fall session the UCP has used the notwithstanding clause. Just weeks ago, it was invoked to force striking teachers back to work.
Yesterday was teachers. Today is transgender people. Who's next?
The notwithstanding clause, by normalizing its use to protect harmful legislation targeting communities, we're weakening the foundations of our democracy.
2 of the 3 bills are facing court challenges, and a group called Queer Citizens United will be holding a rally in Calgary tomorrow afternoon. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Calgary.
Coming up.
It baffles me that in 2025, a 29-year-old woman can die from an infection from childbirth.
How Ontario families are using the loss of their loved ones to push for change that can be felt nationwide. An Ontario man who lost his wife to sepsis shared his grief in front of a Brampton, Ontario City Council meeting, pleading for change that he hopes will have a ripple effect across the country. Here's CTV's Adrian Gabriel.
A widower weeps in front of a city council.
She had sepsis.
On June 19th, 40-year-old Ravinder Sidhu arrived at Mississauga, Ontario's Credit Valley Hospital to deliver her 3rd child. 4 days later, she was dead. The initial cause of death, a Group A sepsis infection. Her husband is accusing hospital staff of ignoring her clear symptoms. The Sidhus aren't alone. On January 19th, 29-year-old Selena Klinger-Evans died in London, Ontario, 2 days after giving birth. A Group A sepsis infection is also listed as the cause of death.
It baffles me that in 2025, a 29-year-old woman can die from an infection from childbirth.
Both families believe their loved ones' deaths were preventable if the symptoms had been recognized sooner and antibiotics administered immediately.
For 2 days, she fought it with no help from the doctors and hospitals. She was just given Tylenol and Advil.
Gurinder Sidhu has been on a mission for change. It includes this petition with more than 15,000 signatures, which led him to Brampton City Hall, where council passed a motion unanimously today calling for standardized sepsis screening, early identification, and rapid intervention.
I truly do believe we can prevent deaths. It's a cry for change, and this motion will be that change.
Officials here hope these cries resonate across the country.
The hope is that we're going to build awareness. We're going to insert this tragedy into the conversation and say, how can we fix this gap in our healthcare system?
Make this change now so that we can prevent these future deaths, which are totally preventable.
So that no other children are left to write love letters to a mother who's never coming home.
Health Canada have shared that they believe that existing infectious disease policies have contributed to a reduction in sepsis. Adrian Gobrel, CTV News, Brampton, Ontario.
Still ahead. Failing grade, why Canadians aren't getting high marks for physical activity. Canada has scored a C- on Participaction's new adult report card on exercise.
Current society is based out of technology, so these technological advancements have pretty much socially engineered movement out of our daily lives.
Less than half of adults are meeting guidelines of at least 150 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity each week. Daily step counts have fallen behind, with just 32% meeting the recommended 7,500 steps a day, a drop from 49% in 2021. Still ahead, high-priced history will tell you how much the prized lots in the Hudson's Bay auction sold for. Dozens of historic works of art once owned by the Hudson's Bay Company sold at auction today in Toronto.
Selling now at Heffel's, the Churchill, $1.3 million. And congratulations to your bidder, Sir Winston Churchill.
A big ticket price today for one of the most coveted items, Marrakesh by former British Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill, which we profiled here on CTV National News. A gift to his wife, it was in turn gifted to HBC by Lady Churchill.
It would be a shame if it was in a private collection somewhere and nobody is able to see it.
And that's the great-granddaughter of Canadian artist Frederick Marlett Bell Smith, sharing her concerns with CTV News recently about another painting in the HBC collection. Well, we have some good news for Nancy tonight. While we don't know who bought it, we can confirm Bell Smith's Lights of a City Street will be staying here in Canada. It sold today for $575,000. The estimated value, by the way, was up to $150,000. And that's a snapshot of this Wednesday from Ottawa. For all of us at CTV National News, thank you for watching. Good night, and see you tomorrow.
Canada's #1 newscast for excellence in journalism.
We begin tonight with breaking news.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina, winner of the Canadian Screen Award for Best National Newscast. Watch weeknights at 11